Hello everybody, and welcome to another Kev Play. This is Kevin, and we are on part 14 of the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, part 4 of Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. Welcome back. We are back in Hurricos. We have not left yet. We have to get like a value of 3 gems, which I'm assuming is in the area where we need to get our last challenge, or orb challenge. I think a couple of orb challenges. Maybe it was 2 orb challenges or 1, I forget which one it is. But I think it's over here. I figure to look over here and see. There's that windmill again. I had to replay the level and kind of get back to where I was. I did not look for the gem while I was doing that, so it's all still blind here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I would imagine, this is what I imagine, is that they would have to be over here. Thank God. There we are, we got our gems. Now we got these hooligans that are just gonna run off. Let's see what our friend has to say.
These gear grinder thieves keep taking our lightning stones. If you can replace them all and activate our generator, I'd be very grateful.
Okay. This challenge, by the way, used to creep me out because there's really I can't really pin down how these enemies spawn. It's usually pretty random. Like, you'll be doing it and sometimes they'll come, sometimes they don't. I can never really pin down how to trigger it exactly if I was doing like a speed run or something. Difficulty is 4 out of 5. Replace the lightning stones, catch the thieves. What else you got?
Replacing the lightning stones will bring the thieves out, so you can catch them.
Okay, Emperor. Catch all 10 thieves.
Replacing...
Heard you the first time. So we gotta get these purple gremlin bishop guys. Purple bishop. That used to be a very scary kind of like children's tale of the purple bishop. When I was a kid, back in the early 90s. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was kind of like, hey Peppa Pig, how are you? It was basically like kind of like the boogeyman. That if you didn't get home in time, or like if you were out late in the middle of the night playing like Manhunt or Tag or whatever, then you gotta be careful of the neighborhood's purple bishop. I don't know where that came from, but everyone always has those children horror stories to tell. Or myths. Alright, so we got lightning stones, we gotta get these... At least I know if the alarms go off, it will probably be on the other side. Guess I got nothing to say. Yeah, there hasn't really been too much going on. I'm still playing Horizon Forbidden West. I'm 80 hours in and I'm still nowhere near done yet. I'm pretty much maybe like 2/3 of the map complete. Oh, this guy's going for it. Oh, what? Oh, this is a lightning stone. I was like, oh, so wait, there's supposed to be alarms going off when these guys take them. No alarms went off, right? I mean, it's supposed to be a shorter game, but I'm going for the platinum, so I'm trying to get everything. I'm trying to do a nice sweep across the map. Like, I don't do like the main. I haven't finished the story yet. I'm trying to like kind of knock out everything all at once that's in my way. If I see a side quest before a main quest, I'll go for it. If a side quest is too far out of my way before... Okay, I just killed him with a lightning stone, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's supposed to be a thing. I don't think lightning stones are supposed to actually kill the enemy, but yeah, just like any open world, I've just been going through it. haven't really played much else beyond that. I know there's a new State of Play coming up this Thursday for Hogwarts Legacy, which is a game, honestly, I'm debating getting, because I did read the books when I was younger, all of them. I enjoyed them. I never really cared for the movies, but I know, like, and just like the whole hype for the whole franchise has kind of got overblown ever since. At a certain point, it became like uncool. It was always uncool, but it was always like you know. It was always a nerdy thing, but it was always like a special thing to read those books, even when they were popular or whatever. But like now the popularity kind of kills it. But I don't know, there's something about having been away from that world for so long that maybe Hogwarts Legacy might be like a cool way to get back in, especially since it's supposed to take place in like the 1800s. So, and I think you just like create your own character and just live in Hogwarts or whatever, so... Oh, did you hear? Video game piracy is legal in Russia. It's legal in Russia. Is that... was that made legal because of the whole ban? Like I know Sony like banned like their games from being like traded or like, you know, commerced in Russia. That's crazy. It's a crazy time we're living in. These purple guys are all over the place. Yeah, every company is screw Russia now, so... Yeah, and... I mean, I don't know anyone who supports Russia right now. That's definitely... But it's, like, weird because... Because, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get too political, but it's like, I feel like a lot of, like, companies are, like, kind of, like, doing one thing with one hand and then doing the other with the other hand. Like, people are still using Russia, or companies are still using Russia for... you know, for trade and and commerce and all that. Even Biden, you know, he's gonna sanction Russia, but he's not going. But he's still gonna depend on. He's not gonna open up our own. I don't know. Like I don't mean to get too political, but just it's hard to not be hypocritical in an issue that's bigger than the individual, I guess. Like I don't support Tencent, the Chinese company that uses like child slave labor to like make their games. But I wouldn't condemn anyone if they wanted to play any of those games, because as a consumer, you're just seeing it from the perspective of, oh, this is a game and I enjoy it. Why should I, like, you know, forbid myself from playing it? They're not really... It's kind of... I guess it's kind of, like, similar to, like, the moral dilemma of, like, being, like, a vegetarian or a vegan. Like, obviously we don't want to see how the sausage is made and support it, but it's kind of... It kind of happens, and we kind of have no... Like, people will eat meat or whatever, and... I don't know. There's so much stuff that are made in China that we can't just, like, I don't know. I'm just, rambling on here. This challenge is always very tedious. And there's no alarms going off. There should be alarms going off in this part. To let you know when they're taking these lightning stones, but I guess I just have to happen upon it and just assume that they're taking it. I don't even know if I got them all yet. And I'm probably not gonna watch that state of play. Oh no? I mean, yeah, it's pretty much just dedicated to that game. It's not like it's gonna be any more reveals or anything.
Spyro, I found this shiny thing mixed up with our lightning stones. Please, take it as a reward.
Alright, we're all good. The last one we got sucked. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I learned, like, a while ago not to get hyped for these state of plays. I'm just... I don't know. I'm just waiting for that big time of the year when, like... I just want to see what Activision is doing, really. That's all I really care about. I know there's a lot of, you know, controversy around them as a developer, but... I still like their games, and I still don't. I don't think everyone should be condemned for, you know, sexual harassment, discrimination. That's pretty much the fault of like the higher ups and people in positions of power. I already got this talisman. I think the best thing, the most interesting thing from the last state of play was, Returnal getting co-op, but even that, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure the last, in the original PS1 version, after they zap that big dude, the other, like, electoral guy just, like, smacks his other friends to the ground, like, randomly for no reason. And that's kind of why I like the PS1's, like, humor a lot more. It was just random and weird like that. But yeah, like, the most interesting thing I say was let's go to Sunny Beach next. Was that Returnal gets a co-op now or something, and there's some sort of DLC or something. But even though, like, even that, like, I don't know. First of all, I'm not really a fan of Returnal. I think I have not even picked it up really ever since. Like, I can't even get past that first world. Like, those type of hard, difficult type games where it's procedurally generated, it's just not my thing, really. This level was always a cute level.
Hi, Spyro. It's a good thing you're here. If you can help shepherd those baby turtles over there to safety, I'd be mighty grateful.
Alright, let's shepherd them. Huh. See, once we get the swim ability, this game just opens up to another level, I think. I think the swimming in this game is a lot of fun. You're, like, to be able to move as fast as you can in the underwater as you would be, like, on ground, it's a big thing. It kind of always, like... I know it's like a realistic thing to be slowed down in water, and most games do that, but for me, like, I just love that I can zoom around the water like an actual, like an actual reptile probably could. And again, this is another vacation level. Why doesn't Spyro just take a vacation here? Maybe that's part of the game, is that he's trying to get to go on vacation, but he's not realizing that this is who he is, and this is what his life. He loves his life, and he wouldn't have it any other way. Like you know, part of the adventure, I guess. The journey is more important than the destination. Alright, so we need our climb ability, but I think I can still get up there if I wanted to, but we'll see. Ow. Still need more of this. What does this guy have to say?
The water workers have captured most of our baby turtles, and the boxes they put them in are incredibly strong. With a more powerful flame attack, maybe you could break open the boxes and release them.
Maybe. Defeat 11 enemies to activate the Super Flame power-up. The power-up is between the two pyramids on the ground platform. Alright, there's a lot of backtracking in this game, though, with the abilities, but it's something I can forgive. I like the idea that I can revisit levels as a kid. It's not too grueling. Oh, you... There you are, alright. Trying to body slam that guy. Okay. I'm pretty sure these starfish have like a very sad death if I kill them. It has like a very sad expression. Let's see. I didn't really see it. I think in the original you'll see like X's in their eyes and they have like a very sad face. This is like one of the first enemies, correct me if I'm wrong, where you you flame them once, but they still have another hit point pretty much. Did that happen much in Spyro 1? I can't recall. It had to. Oh yeah, the dogs. Of course, the dogs in Toasty had 2 hit points. I should be good to get that super flame. Let's get that talisman first. Don't even think about it. Get up there. Me first, me first.
Thank you, young dragon. The baby turtles will be safe up here. Please take this talisman as a token of our gratitude.
Excellent. Okay. Now this part we can't do yet, but let's see what he has to say.
There's a chef up at the top of this ladder who wants to make soup out of our turtles. Maybe you could climb up there and stop him?
I wonder if Advisor Moppet is in reference to the Muppets, and they're thinking of like Kermit the Frog.
There's a chef at the top of this ladder who wants...
Alright, let's go back. Let's get our Super Flame. First things first, we go right in here. Use our little thing or whatever, and I was gonna say crosshairs. Oh, that usually works. Alright, there we are. I don't remember the aiming being inverted. Maybe that's just maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. Let's see if I can get this guy to look like he's sad. Where'd he go? I don't know, I guess he's not sad anymore. Alright, let's go. Oh, where am I going? Gotta get my Super Flame. Right here. It's 5. So I can make it back in time. Come on. There we go. Oh yeah, there's a place up here that I haven't gone to yet. It's over here. Have you only been playing Forbidden West? Yes. As of like the last time we spoke, yeah. I think I played... I only played this because my sister was over. We played a little Call of Duty for a bit, Black Ops 4. It's a good online kind of like split-screen game, so... I don't usually go out of my way to play Call of Duty, but it's good for split-screen online. It's our life butterfly. But yeah, Forbidden West, I'm having a lot, like, just, I'm enjoying it so much. It's a much bigger game than the first game, I think, and a lot more refined, I think. I love that it has this, like, gliding feature to it, too, where you can glide off, like, big mountains and stuff. I'm just really enjoying it. Okay, I think the last crate is at the end of the level. This way. There we are.
Most impressive. Please take this sacred thingamajig as a token of our everlasting gratitude.
Beautiful. These tikis are really silly and wonky. I don't think I remember them in the original game. Okay, so I think before I leave, I just want to see if I can make this glide. For some reason, I think I can. Oh, worth a try. I think I'll save it for next time though, so I don't waste too much time getting something that I can easily get later. Ugh. Okay, I think we're good. Bye, turtles. Alright, let's go. Ow, that hurt. Belly flop. I think the turtle designs in the PS1 game look so like they're so blocky and stupid looking, but it's I don't know, it's still funny. I honestly like I still have nostalgia for that, but it's weird seeing them more kind of like Pixar like. All right, that was good. I suppose. What's she have to say? Did I talk to her last time?
Something shiny at the top of this wall. You could probably get it, but you'll have to learn how to climb first.
Okay. Oh, I've also seen Turning Red. What is Turning Red? I don't think I heard of that one. Let's see what we got here. Ocean Speedway.
Nice work, Spyro.
I know.
The
We
orbs you're
talked
carrying-
last time. Okay. Ocean Speedway. Let's try it. Pixar's new. Oh, is that one where you like the girl turns into like a big furry animal or something like that? I don't know if it was a girl or a boy. Or... It looked cool. I mean, it looked like a very creative little idea for a movie. What do you think? Here's the speedways, by the way, which I think have become a lot more streamlined in the second game, especially since they added kind of like orb challenges now. Let's get in here. No. Screwed that up. Ow. And they've added supercharge too, which makes this a lot more of a speedway, I guess. In the original game, they called these flight levels. Now they're speedways, I guess, because flying isn't the only factor. Oh god! Oh god! I'm kind of botching this. Pixar movies are usually have a lot of magic up their sleeve, so I'm not you know I wouldn't put it past them to still put out good movies. Let's try that again. Let's give this another go. Boom. I feel like I'm going about this the wrong way, but we'll see. Maybe I can go this way first. Take on these boats next. Oh, I love how the water kicks up when you get close to it. Ah, missed him. Oh no, okay. Trial and error. Alright, so we're gonna go for this first, then the cars, then the boats, then I guess the arches. So I think that's my plan. Just make sure not to miss it this time. Miss the boats this time. And it's always good to go in the opposite direction of traffic when you're doing the speedways, because why chase after something when you can knock it out here? Alright, here we are. Oh, come on. Oh no! I couldn't get out back into the glide. Oh man. Are you a fan of the non-Insomniac Spyro games? Honestly, I've never really played them. I think I had like a demo disc once of Hero's Tale, and it just wasn't. I don't know. It was just very wonky controls and sluggish. The animations were weird. I know, like, the Legend of Spyro games, while they're different aesthetically, they're supposed to be, like, solid games, like, gameplay-wise. Oh my god. This part's very stressful. Okay, okay, okay. There we go. Now we get the arches. I remember being excited for Enter the Dragonfly, but then seeing how terrible the reviews were, when it came out, and I was like, oh god, because oh god, there we go, we got it. Okay. Now I gotta do retry, and there's gonna be a challenge to do. I think like a hunter challenge or something. This was always such a surprise to me. It's like I had to find out later that there were actually challenges in the speedways. Because they don't tell you. You can kill these fish, by the way. I think there's a skill point for it. Let's see, or maybe it was a trophy. Yeah, I think it was like a trophy. Because I don't remember doing it in the original.
I think you're pretty good. Well, let's see if you're as good as the current champion.
I'm ready. Actually, no thanks.
That's just fine. You can come back anytime.
I just wanted to see what she said if I said no. So I suppose I should talk about my 2001 Game of the Year while I'm here.
I guess now you think you're... Alright, Spyro. Meet the course champion. In order to win the race, you must fly through all the rings. But beware, if Hunter flies through a ring first, the ring will start to shrink.
Hunter? Let's go. I think I have 6 games for 2001 to go through. And they can pretty much be broken down into 3 tiers, being the first tier being kind of something that not too much to rate home about. I mean, they're all good games, actually. I don't think there's a bad game really in the bunch in terms of being a bad game, but I think some are just good, and then the next 2 are better, and then the last two are excellent. Let's see if I can just catch up to Hunter here. Where are we going? Oh, we're going in. We're going in. So, I guess I'll go for the first 2 games that I would consider kind of like the lower tier in terms of my interest and games that I really didn't find myself playing that much, even though I'd played them a lot. I think these were kind of like the first 2 PS2 games I really owned first. But I guess one of them, since we're flying, actually was a flying game, and that's Ace Combat 4 Shattered Skies.
Great job, Spyro. That was some excellent flying.
Nice. Yeah, Ace Combat Shattered Skies. It was by Bandai Namco. It was the 4th game in the series by now. It was a great tech demo for, like, kind of like graphically speaking. I mean, it plays great. I actually did play this game randomly recently. I just put it in because and it wasn't even because I knew I was going to be talking about it, but like it was more not recently in terms of like a month or so ago. I was playing it because I just was interested in playing it. I guess. I mean, like I just wanted to see what it was about. Yeah, it's like fighter jet, like kind of like dogfighting basically. And you can unlock like all these different types of fighter jets, and even, like the game even has kind of like a story. Let's get out of here. It has like a story, but it always kind of, I don't know, like in the beginning of the PS2 era, you kind of wanted, like, the whole idea of PS2 games in the very early going was the jump between PS1 and PS2 graphically. So when I was playing any story game back then, I wanted 3D graphics. It was the era of 3D graphics. And yes, it's a 3D game, but for some reason, the cutscenes were always in like these like 2D image stills, where you would see like these like kind of like concept art, and like there would be narration over it, explaining like what the characters like, what the protagonist is like feeling throughout like wartime and stuff. Which I remember as a kid and as like a new PS2 owner, I was just like, yeah, this isn't really like immersing me. This isn't really like, and it's still kind of like, but now that like I know that it was a stylistic creative choice to do that, I appreciate it more. But still, it's nothing to write home about. But the game is still great. It has a great multiplayer, a great single-player campaign where you go through all these dogfights and all that. It plays great, but it gets a little boring after a while. It doesn't really have the best replayability. But it's a good game. It's definitely a solid game, and I think it actually holds up very well. I think I can, if there was someone who wanted to play that game like a multiplayer, if they came over and we did split screen, I would be down because it is a very solid, fun game. And it's weird though because like last episode I was talking about Army Men Air Attack 2, and it's like all these like kind of military games that I'm getting, I still haven't had like a first-person shooter yet. But or any like military like any military game was like air combat, which is weird because I really wasn't like I wasn't like a big like Air Force guy or anything. Like most of my family come from the Navy. But it was still interesting. But I think this is like my first real military game. I think like actual like not it's not mature for mature, but mature in the sense that it was like a realistic kind of like Ace Combat or Air Force kind of simulator type game. The other game that I guess would be in the same tier as this was the only game of this franchise that I actually own, and that is Madden NFL 2002. And that's 2002 because they always put the game a year earlier than the actual year. This is such a depressing opening here. Such a dark, twisted sense of humor this game has. I don't even know if that was humor. That was more like torture. There really was no joke or punchline to that.
The funny-looking guys with the shock sticks have drained all our water. We can't get it back unless someone activates the switches they're guarding.
Okay, Ripple.
Those shock stick guys are tough. Yesterday, they turned Vern, our giant squid, into fried calamari.
Oh, I had fried calamari last night. It was so good. No offense. But yeah, Madden NFL 2002. It's the only Madden game I have. I enjoyed football as a kid. I enjoyed playing it. I played with my friends, like two-hand touch in the street, sometimes tackle down at the park. I enjoyed football for a while. I've never really got like beyond that. Like Madden again was another tech demo for me. Like it was so cool to see a sports game in PS2 graphics compared to how it was in PS1. To see the shine on their helmet and all that, like, And I played it a lot. I played like through the season back in the day. There's a lot of options, there's a lot of like customization, and but really my memories of that game is playing like with my cousins and just like pissing them off by going like off sides all the time, and just like screwing up like field goals, just and never getting through the game because I was just like messing around. But that game was fun. I can't really get into those games anymore though. In terms of like video game football, I haven't played one ever since really. But like honestly, I think I'd rather play real football than play Madden, because Madden to me is just like, it's like a strategy game basically, like when you think about it, because you're doing it from like a coach perspective. You're not really like controlling your character or anything. I'd rather be a player on the field than kind of overlooking the whole process of it, and that's kind of what Madden games always were to me. But it's a good game. You know, it's a sports game. It's nothing to write home about. But it's a solid game, and that game still holds up too. As a football game, obviously. This level, by the way, is like the first level that really just becomes truly underwater completely. I like the progression of that, how it starts off with land and you're kind of just making it a water level as you progress. So many enemies in this level too. Yeah. So yeah, Madden and Ace Combat 4 were like two of the very early games that I had very early on. I think the other games I might have gotten around the same time or maybe later, but they were games that I actually like seeked myself to get. Damn, a water level that's actually good. Yeah, water levels don't usually get the best reputation. Oh god, a little pop in there with that crab. Pop in, pop out. Okay, so the next two games are games that I actually went out of my way to get or ask for. Like, I think Madden and Ace Combat 4, I never asked for them, really. I got them as, like, Christmas presents by, like, I think my uncle gave me Madden and Ace Combat. Still games I enjoyed, but they weren't games, like, I actually, like, was, like, you know, pining to... You know, it's not like I saw them in a catalog or something. I was like, oh, I need to get that game. These next games are ones that I definitely I definitely knew about through the internet, or because I played it at a friend's house and I wanted to play it myself. And that is... One is... Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. This game, when I first got it, I did not understand that it was not a good game. I was enjoying it. I was like, oh, more Crash Bandicoot Warped? This is great. Oh, it's a warp room like Crash Bandicoot Warped and they're playing the same music? This is awesome. I'll take it. It's PS2 graphics. It looks a little bit better. Awesome. I didn't think about, like, the physics. I didn't think about how it's a little bit more sluggish. I didn't think about the loading times, really. Even though I was aware of them, I knew that it was loading way slower on the PS2 version. I heard the Xbox version might be faster loading times. How did the Wrath of the Loading Time get on this list? Well, I mean, it's on the list because I actually... Like, anything on this list is actual games I own. So they're going to be on the list regardless. But I did find Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex a game that I enjoyed. I enjoyed it not as much as Warped or Crash 2 or even... I mean, I don't know. At the time, Crash 1 was kind of clunky to me. And I have more appreciation for it now, but... yeah, I enjoyed Wrath of Cortex. I wanted to get the game because, unlike Enter the Dragonfly, it was actually like a functional game at least. It had the spirit of Crash. It was kind of lame that you still get the same moves. You have to get all the moves you earned in Warped all over again, and it's the same ones. And I think the only new move was like sneak shoes. and that was kind of like the most pointless one, unless you wanted to do like a couple of bonus stages where you had to tiptoe across some nitro. I mean, it's basically a downgraded Warped. It is. But you know what? I loved Warped so much that I would take a downgraded version of more Crash Warped any day. You know? And plus, the one redeeming thing about Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex, I think, is Crunch Bandicoot. I think he brought a new, fresh perspective to the game. Him being a boss for every boss fight in a different elemental mask, that was a cool new concept. And I like how every boss fight plays differently. Like, I like the rolling rock levels, or like when you're in like the bowl, the hamster bowl, basically. Those levels were fun. But yeah, I know. First of all, Wrath of Cortex is a much tougher game than for like time trials and all that. There's a lot of. I mean, yeah, it's the first game where you can play as Coco on foot, but she's not really, like, you know, there's nothing to write home about with her.
Hi, Spyro. You must be tougher.
That's true, the soundtrack was really good.
All the same, you won't be able to get past the metal sharks up ahead. I suppose I could let you borrow my submarine, though, for a modest fee, of course.
No deal.
Suit yourself. Just don't go swimming through the tunnel. Those metal sharks are quite indestructible.
I remember back when I was a kid playing Spyro 2, I was so strapped for cash, strapped for cash or gems, that I would try to like cheat and like shortcut my way through the level without ever having to pay money bags. Like, if I could find a way to get past an area without having to do it, I would do it. But nowadays, that was back when I didn't have the knowledge of how to get every gem, like, because it used to be much harder to find or obtain gems back then for me, for some reason. For this game, at least, there's a lot of hidden areas.
A pleasure doing business with you, Spyro. This submarine is 100% shark-proof. I guarantee it.
But yeah, Crash Bandicoot. See, I already confused it. I know it's a rehash of Warped and it's a lesser version of it, but I enjoyed it. Like you said, really great soundtrack. Different sounding soundtrack than Mark Motherbaugh. What is it, Motherbaugh or whatever? I can't say his last name. Than his composition. Not a fan of some of the character models of the classic villain. Oh yeah, they look so bad. They look so terrible. Yeah, and Entropy, Tiny, and Engine, and Dingodile all look like pathetic, like, I don't know what. The character designs were worse. The graphics were kind of better, but honestly, the textures in the original games are still better. There's an attention to detail in the original games, I think, that are way better. But there were some levels that I liked. I liked that one level where, like, it starts off like in a kind of like a plane crash or whatever, but then it goes into like a volcano area, or maybe it's the other way around where it's a volcano area and then you go into the plane. I liked how it got creative like that, but yeah, they got turned into obstacles for some levels. Yeah, they did, and that kind of always annoyed me. How they were just were resorted to like obstacles rather than actual characters. You know, as much as I love Crunch, I wish that they got more screen time, I guess, or like, you know, play. I wish it was more combat against them, like to play against them, but it was at least nice to see them. I don't know. But yeah, their character models were awful. But yeah, it's still a good game. It's still like a game that I've returned to. It's not the best game though. And at least it's not Enter the Dragonfly, because honestly that was one of the other reasons why I didn't get Enter the Dragonfly, because I knew that Wrath of Cortex was a step down. So I didn't want to get kind of like.
We all want you to have this talisman of Aquaria Towers to remember us by.
That's the talisman. Okay, so moving along, another game in that same tier that I would put of Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. Even though this game, I think, is kind of like the first of, not the first of its franchise, but definitely a solid, underrated version or entry in its franchise, and that is James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire. Agent Under Fire. It's not GoldenEye. It's no GoldenEye, but this is like one of the first like really good like kind of like I guess like early kind of like mocap type games. I don't think it was mocap because it kind of looked like a very cheap version of Pierce Brosnan, but it was a very interesting campaign. The multiplayer was very awesome, and I think that was one of my favorite things about that game was it had this amazing like grappling hook where you can grapple onto anything you want. You didn't need to like find like a certain like hook or anything to hook onto. Like anything in the level or anything in any of the multiplayer levels you wanted to grab hold of, you can do. And you can basically fly around the level like Spider-Man. It was kind of like ridiculous. Have you played GoldenEye? I have played GoldenEye. I never owned GoldenEye, and I don't think this game was as good as GoldenEye, but it still is a cut above a lot of multiplayer shooters, and it was honestly, this is my first real first-person shooter. Like I said, I still haven't had a military game, but at least I was playing like a spy, espionage, you know, James Bond game in 2001, and that was a big draw to me. I loved James Bond as a kid. I still do. And those games were fun, and there was also like you can do so many cool things like setting up all these tripwires in the multiplayer, like tripwire bombs, and put them all over the place, and they would be like the same. The laser of the tripwire would be like the same color of that your team color was, and it was just so fun.
The water workers have kidnapped 6 of my children and have hidden them in the top of each of these numbered towers. I borrowed some explosives to blast open the tower doors. If you can make it to the top of the 6 numbered towers, my children will be safe.
Okay. Reach the top of the towers. Each tower will open in order. This.
Every time you make it to the top of a tower, I'll blow the door off the next one.
Okay.
If you can make it to the top of the 6th.
King Flippy. All right. Now, the thing about this game though, the Agent Under Fire, was it did feel like it was on rails a lot. There actually are like on rails sections where you're like in a vehicle and you're kind of just shooting, but even like the gameplay kind of felt like that in a way. I don't know, it was weird. It was very early PS2 first-person shooter that doesn't really hold up as well today. But in terms of like multiplayer options and the campaign just being a fun game, it's just a solid game. Absolutely. Let's see if I can get through here. Oh man, sometimes I feel like I can just rush right up. But yeah, Agent Under Fire was a very decent game. I mean, my neighbor had it. I really enjoyed it, and I remember just wanting it. Had a lot of cool car sections too. What's over here? Oh, those are just fish. Okay. Let me see if I can find a third. Is a third tower around here, or is it downstairs? I think it's downstairs. But yeah, those were my first 4 games, I guess, that I would say, like so Madden NFL 2002, Ace Combat 4 was the kind of like the lower tier. Then the more interesting games to me were James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire and Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. The next 2 games, though, it's weird because I didn't really... it's weird. I didn't really get... I played one of the games more than I did the... There's one game that I've only played once through, really. I have some history with it, some nostalgia for it, but I didn't play it till very later on in its lifespan, basically. And the other game I played a lot, but I never really owned. I played a lot when it came out. I didn't own it, but then I got it recently because it was just such a good game back then. Honestly, these two games, I'm very conflicted with which one I want to choose. Let's see, can I go this way? Is 4 this way? I forget. Okay, so the first game that I played a lot at friends' houses, I remember being amazed by this game. Because it was such a huge jump from the other two games that came before it. That was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Oh, the 6 towers here. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was a huge jump. It's actually like one of the, I think it was like one of the first like 10 out of 10s that GameSpot gave it. Back when GameSpot was more of like a reliable gauge for review scores. Not that review scores really matter, but you know what I mean. But it was, I remember it being a score that I agreed with because the game was at, like, if Tony Hawk 2 was more refined than Tony Hawk 1, then Tony Hawk 3 being a jump from PS1 to PS2, like we can already see, Crash Bandicoot's jump from PS1 to PS2 did not go so well. Spyro's jump from PS1 to PS2 did not go so well. Tony Hawk, on the other hand, had an incredible jump from PS1 to PS2. It got better. Like, way better. I remember it, like, it still has the same formula where you're basically under the 2-minute time trial, and you're trying to get as much goals done as you can before the 2 minutes are up. But there was more to it. There was more destructible environments, more refined gameplay. Not only are you manualing, but you're reverting, and you can connect all your combos. There's pedestrians in the level. There's destructible environments. Like I said, you can actually change the map by triggering certain things that made it like the world. Like the maps were so much more interactive. There's pedestrians. You're kind of like talking to pedestrians in order to get challenges done. And then there's like the customizations. Everything was just so much like more refined, and just everything was just a cut above the original two games, like by far. And it was one of the first PS2 games that really played like a PS. That really played, kind of reinvented Tony Hawk in a way in terms of how it feels and how it looks too, and all that. Like I don't know, and just the sound. Like, so this is a game that I picked up recently, maybe within the last year. Because I never actually owned it, but I played it again, and I was like, holy crap, this game is, like, on another level. There's so much to do in the game. Oh, man. I only have, I still have sparks, okay. Just gotta be careful. There we are. But yeah, very good game.
You did it! Now we can swim in peace.
I very much want to give this game my game of the year.
Please.
And I'm still on the fence. Like, honestly, I'm about to decide in the moment. I haven't really even decided yet. But Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, one of my game of the years. Well, it's one of my top 2 of the 6 that we're talking about. The other game is a game that I didn't get until like the PS3 generation, and that is Jack and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. Now, this is the first Naughty Dog game that I played since CTR. Or, honestly, I think I think I was playing this before Uncharted, but here's the thing with Jak is my experience with Jak in the PS2 era was I remember playing it at a kiosk at Best Buy and not really understand, like, I remember being like, wow, this is a cool game. It's like, it's sort of like Spyro. It's like open world, but it's like fully connected and there's kind of like a lore to it. Of course, Jak and Daxter. I'm surprised you think of course Jak and Daxter. I haven't really mentioned anything about Jak and Daxter. Yeah, so my experience was just playing in a kiosk in Best Buy when it first came out, and it was during a time when I was more into, obviously, games like Tony Hawk. More games were coming out in the PS2 era that were a little bit more mature. I was kind of moving away from platformers. There were more realistic games, more, shooter games. I was, like I said, I was playing James Bond, Agent Under Fire. I was, playing more, I think, like, the James Bond, like, shooting games and, like, Tony Hawk and a lot of the more mature games that were going to be coming later during the PS2 era where there was more realistic graphics. Those were the games that kind of drew me in. So I was kind of moving away from from games like Jak and Daxter, but I always was, like, looking at it from, like, kind of like the grass is greener on the other side, where it's like, wow, like, I kind of wish I could play this, but as a kid, I don't have money, and there's only so many games I can ask for. And so, like, Jak and Daxter kind of just went, like, I kind of just never really had an opportunity to really play them until later. Have you played GTA 3? Oh, by then, I did not own GTA 3, but my cousin had GTA 3, and that was a huge, innovative game that, during the PS2, that I remember being, like, that was a game I really wanted to get, too. And those were the kind of games that that I would later be getting into. So yeah, a game like Jak and Daxter wasn't really, like, on my radar as much, but I remember being like, hey, this is a cool game. It's from Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin, who made the Crash Bandicoot trilogy and CTR. It looks cool. It looks like a fun platformer. It's open world. It's like one of the first connected worlds, like where it's like there's like really no loading or anything. Very cool for its time. And honestly, looking back, now that I ended up picking up the HD trilogy for PS3, like back in the PS3 era, and out of the three games, honestly, the Precursor Legacy was the one that I really enjoyed the most, because it was more of a platformer and less of like a kind of like a shooter. Because then even the Jak games were kind of going in the same direction that that my PS2 version of myself was going in, where I wanted to play the more mature games, and obviously Jak 2 and Jak 3 become more mature, and go into that kind of shooting type, third-person shooter type genre a bit, and even go into like GTA a bit. But Precursor Legacy, I think, is a really solid game. It's honestly the only Jak game that I've platinumed, and I think that's because it was just a fun collectathon game that you can actually, like, legit 100% if you're actually smart and are able to do it, and there's no BS thing saying, hey, you can't platinum this game because you didn't get that one precursor, or that you have now missed and you will have to, like, start the game over if you want to get it. Like, that is kind of BS to me. I like that Precursor, the first game, is like a complete game where you can go back to whatever you missed and get it if you want to, and you can find it and track it down, and it's still a challenging game and fun game. So yeah, I have not really returned to Precursor Legacy, but I do respect it a lot. I do admire it a lot. I admired it back then, even though I didn't have much chance to play it. But yeah, I think I was leaning more towards Tony Hawk 3 in terms of it being very refined. But honestly, I think, if I'm gonna be fair, because Tony Hawk 3, while it's refined and it's getting better and better and better, it's like Tony Hawk 3 is like arguably one of the best video games, or best Tony Hawk games from a lot of people's opinion. But I think Tony Hawk gets, like, not that it gets better, but I think there's a lot more to go with it. Where I don't know if Tony Hawk 3 stands, even though I love it, it's a game that I kind of have to play it again to remember why I love it. It doesn't really stand out to me as much as the other Tony Hawk installments. Especially since a lot of Tony Hawk 3 levels end up getting kind of getting remade in future games or whatever. But Tony Hawk 3 is such a great game. But for originality's sake, and for being a complete collectathon platformer and fun world and original game with an original story that people look fondly on, and then I still have a lot of kind of nostalgia for it, even though I played it later, and I like the charm of the game. I think I have to give my Game of the Year for 2001 to Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. As much as I would want to give it to Tony Hawk 3, I think I have to give it to Jak and Daxter: Precursor. It's a game that I feel like I want to return to soon, just to replay it again, because it was fun. But that's just me. So, yes, I think I would give it to Jak and Daxter, 2001. So, to recap, 1995 is Twisted Metal, 1996 is Crash Bandicoot, 1997 is Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, 1998 is Spyro the Dragon, 1999 is Crash Team Racing, 2000 is Spyro Year of the Dragon, Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, and 2001 is Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. But man, I want to give it to Tony Hawk 3. It's so hard. I think this might be the hardest one that I had to choose from between the two. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would give it. Honestly, I want to give Hunter his little 2-orb challenge next time, because we're a little over time here. But I think we'll call it here. And we'll finish Aquaria Towers next time in this huge water level, probably one of the hugest water levels I've ever played. But at this point in my in Kev plays. All right, I think we'll call it here. Public Pig, it's been a pleasure. Anyone else, if you want to like, comment, or subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, keep a clear head, and keep on gaming. Peace out.